Thank you for coming. And I would like to express my congratulations to Arc Marathon team because it's getting better and better. I was fortunate to be part of the event last year in Milan. Here it's much better than. Thank you. Well, I'm presenting Mimarlar ve Han Tümertekin based in Istanbul and Atelier Han Tümertekin based in Strasbourg. The project that I will present to you is an intervention to an existing A-listed building which has in Istanbul, which has the same status that the Topkapı Palace. The building is the former Ottoman Bank headquarters, which was the central bank of the Ottoman Empire. And the program was a cultural program sponsored by one of the biggest banks in Turkey, concerning two buildings, two late 19th century buildings at a distance of 10 minutes by walk. Then you can see on the map the largest circle is the project that I will present. The second largest is the other building. Then, and the others are the interventions that we have done the last 10 years at the same part of the city, which is the center of the city. I am showing this for not for saying that you see we are very laborious, just to show you that this part of the city is moving a lot. I was born at the same neighborhood, and this part of the city was developed and very active from the mid-19th century till late 70s, early 80s. And from early 80s till end of 90s, it was not a criminal district, but people moved to the edges of the city. That was the trend. And it was kind of a leftover. And from late 90s till today, it's a very fast changing, not physically changing, but socially and culturally changing district. And this is not a coincidence that these six projects nominated for Arc Marathon this time, 4 over 6 are from the same neighborhood than the ones you have seen yesterday and one that will be presented tomorrow. Then it's a very moving place. Well, the building is a building from Alexandre Vallori, a French Levantin architect. And the funny thing about the building is that, first, about the facades, the facade giving to the Golden Horn is much more orientalistic, and the other one, which has the main entrance to the building, is, as you can see, eclectic and neoclassical Occidental facade. And another coincidence that half of the building, the left part is the part that we intervened, but the right-hand side half of the building is actually the Turkish Republic's Central Bank's Istanbul branch. Well, just a coincidence. At the beginning of every project, what we are trying is to define and if possible, the problem, the only problem. Of course, we have brief provided by the client, and at that case, the brief was about a cultural program concerning 2 buildings. Then the first challenge was to, of course, by discussions with the client and the group of curators, and a member of the jury was very active at that cycle, to define, to divert which function must be in which of the 2 buildings. That was the first step. Then, by knowing that the other building, the second one, which is right in the middle of the extremely crowded pedestrian street, then most of the exhibition spaces was placed on that building. And for the Ottoman Bank building, we had a bit slower and stable functions, which are the library, archives, rooms for seminars, auditorium, this kind of things were of the program were placed in the Ottoman Bank building. By the years, the users of the building, and after the Ottoman Bank period, the building was belonging to that bank who sponsored all the program, and still sponsoring the program. Garanti Bank made use of the building as a branch. And then the first thing was to detect, of course, with restorers and specialists, to detect the interventions that they have made over the years. And the first critical intervention was to block the to block the main entrance by an elevator. Then that was the main entrance. Second thing, then you can see that it was blocking everything. The second critical intervention was to add a slab which was blocking the natural light to the atrium, which was drastically changing the perception of space without any daylight. And the problem for us was how to find a way to get the building accessible to public, because it was a bank headquarters, a central bank headquarters for an empire. So it was a extremely secured and introverted building. But this time the challenge was to find a way to open it up to the building, to the people. And then once we defined that was the main problem, we concentrated, instead of the beautiful building and extremely well-proportioned rooms, we concentrated on the circulation. then the problem was not to create new spaces, but to design a new circulation to redefine, in order to respect the new use of the building, to redefine the articulation of spaces by just designing the circulation. That was the main thing. And this is to compare. Everybody is architect, and needless to explain, but this is clear that what we have done at the main entrance, and this is the part that we restructurized everything. First, the entrance, we liberated the entrance without blocking with that elevator. And at the end, we could create a huge opening, seeing the Golden Horn and the historical peninsula's silhouette. Then immediately you enter to the building, you see that you are here in Istanbul facing the Golden Horn. And it helped us, that intervention helped us to create the access to the new functions, which are the largest one on top is the library. Next to that, then you see the new elevators, the courtyards in green that we recreated, and access to the extension building, to the cafe, in front of the cafe, the bookshop. Then all the new functions get their access directly from the main entrance, which is a kind of continuity of the public space of the street. That was the critical move that we had. By doing this, you can see clearly at the section that the height of volumes couldn't remain the same, and because we created a new parts of the entrance hall, then we added a glass wall, first to unify the one side of the entrance hall, then to create a new perception by the reflections of that surface, that helps us to get that feeling that you are in a continuous space. That was the only thing we added. But this is not just for that perceptual trick that we make use of that surface. This surface has all the new entrances, controlled ones, like the one for the library. We make use of it as a kind of information space. I don't know what. Voila. Not a real media wall, but you can get all the information of what's happening, the name of sponsors. Then this is a useful surface as well. The third thing is that when you finish this kind of operations, in most of the cases, there are no signs that you can have an idea about the initial shape of the building before touching it. Then one part is kind of a, how to say, a kind of a window that shows you what is underneath. Then without having the plasters, you can see the structure of the walls. And we collaborated from the beginning. That was our client's brief and wish that we agreed. The building is making roughly 10,000 square meters. At the other one, the second building is making 5,000. Then totally a program of 15,000 square meters. Then right at the beginning, they said, "Okay, Han, you will be the architect, but we would like you to collaborate with different architects, designers, and interior designers to enrich the spaces." Then the library was by Chanel Architecture, another a nominee, and this is what we had at the end. We just integrated, of course, the new technologies at the ceilings. This is one collaboration with another designer. This is our part. Another architect. Voila. Thank you very much.